All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and I am proud to present to you the 2021 Mercedes-Benz E450 Cabriolet. So, who do we have to thank for this opportunity? It is none other than Mercedes-Benz of Cary, North Carolina, and I will leave all of Alex's information down below because he is a very competent person and he knows just about every single thing about these Mercedes products. So please do give him a shout if you're interested in purchasing a Mercedes-Benz. Now, why am I checking out the E-Class? Well, because after I did a few of my S-Class videos and after I stated that that was one of my most favorite flagship luxury sedans, you guys were like, please do check out the E-Class because that car is far cheaper, damn near half the price of an S-Class, and you guys believe that this E-Class has pretty much everything that the S-Class has to offer in a slightly smaller package. So I'm going to see if that's true. Now, obviously, this is the Coupe Cabriolet model. I'm testing out this particular one because this is the one that the dealership has with the 450 model with the inline-six engine. And this is all new. There are so many things all new with this vehicle. I mean, for 2021, they did revise the E-Class. Now, if you want to be on the same level as Carmela Soprano, you know, you have to get the wagon, of course. But, you know, not everybody wants a wagon in the United States, of course. And I think this is pretty swaggy in its own right. You know what I'm saying? This Cabriolet. So I'm about to get this thing on the road. But before I do that, I want to cover a few things, right? So with the 2021, obviously, it's not a full redesign, but you might think it is when you look at it from the exterior. I mean, it is vastly different, and both the front and the rear, they both have a new look to it. Now, you let me know in the comment section if you prefer the way that this new E-Class looks. I actually do like this new redesign. I think it does look very clean, very sleek. It's a 2021 S-Class I need to see in person, but this one, I actually do like it for the E-Class anyway. And that's some other things, you know, interior changes, you know, a new steering wheel, of course, and it does have sensors in it to let you know, like, where your fingers are placed and all that stuff, because this thing will pretty much drive itself. You know, this is an $83,000 car with the options it has. It does have, like, the little AMG package on it as well. And these seats, man, these seats, okay, a lot of things come standard with this vehicle, but these seats are amazing because they're actually, like, UV reflective, basically. So it's a leather seat, it's extremely comfortable, and I'll talk more about this in the interior, but this thing will actually reflect the sunlight so it doesn't get super hot or anything like that. That's impressive. That's a lot of the reason why people want and lust after Mercedes-Benz. This is the highest level of technology, the highest level of just luxury things that you can shove into a car. This car has it. Like things you would never even think about, this car has it. Obviously, because it's a Cabriolet, it's got the air scarf, all that good stuff, and it's got the driver assistance package. I'm not going to go through all of it, but dude, if you crash this car, I mean, if you suck at driving, these Benz products are the one for you, because if you crash this, then man, you can't drive anything, because this thing will absolutely save your life, that's for sure. That's how many safety features it has, and it pretty much will drive itself. Of course, you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but we can keep going on and on about the safety, the features, the specs, but at the end of the day, you can read up about all that stuff online. You know, what you can't read up on is the way that this vehicle drives, feels, and how you interact with it. So let's go ahead and let's get this out on the road and let's discuss its driving behavior, shall we? This one, like the 6-cylinder offerings, they are easily pretty much, that's like the flagship engine. Now, obviously, you can't get an E53 model with the Cabriolet, and you know, that's another video for another day. But I think this is perfect for this vehicle. Main reason why people want these Benz products is obviously A, for prestige, you know what I'm saying, but also the slew of technology features that these things come with. These are the latest and greatest. But the biggest change, obviously, is this inline-six. And it's the main reason why I want to check out a 450 model. Not because it's a Cabriolet, but because it has like this inline-six. Now, it's not just BMW that has this motor now. Effortless thrust, of course. It's turbocharged, but it also has a mild hybrid system as well. So this thing actually produces about 362 horsepower and about 369 pounds-feet of torque. So that's great, but I want to see how the mild hybrid, all this stuff kind of interacts with each other, because I was just a little bit worried that this might be an unnatural experience, because, you know, I love the S-Classes. You know, all these vehicles, they had like a very magical quality to it. I want to see if this E-Class captures some of that. Now, obviously, this is 2021. The S-Class I checked out was like a 2015, you know what I'm saying, and a 2016 Coupe as well. Still, it's pretty much the exact same model even for 2020. Now, these Benz products are great because I absolutely love the way they implement the refinement, because this is a luxury car in the traditional sense, and that's what makes these vehicles incredible to me. 0 to 60 is about 4.9 seconds with this 450 model with the 4MATIC, basically. And that's what this is. And that's another reason why I like these Benz products, because this is a Cabriolet or Coupe, and it still comes with 4MATIC. So it's a very versatile vehicle in that sense. It's usable basically in all types of weather conditions. Another reason why I'm okay with this E-Class is because, you know, here's the thing with an S-Class with a V8, these cars are so refined, so quiet, that it doesn't really matter what engine that these things are powered by, because you wouldn't even know it. All these engines are very smooth. So as long as there's effortless thrust, that's really all that matters. But, you know, these cars, they can actually come with a air suspension as well. This vehicle is not equipped with that. This actually does have the kind of AMG package on it, even though it's an E450, and that does give it 19-inch wheels. And they are pretty cool looking wheels, I'm not gonna lie, wrapped in these 245 wide tires in all four corners. So I'm about to take this out on the highway. You know, you can flip it around, you know, put in these little modes here, you know, Sport, Sport Plus, all that good stuff. Yeah, speed is definitely not something that you're going to have an issue with this particular car. Okay, so here's some of the things. Is this as refined as the S-Class? No, it's not. Also, keep in mind this is the Cabriolet model, and so because of that, you're going to get a lot more wind noise, which this car does have. And this thing does not actually have double pane glass. You might be surprised by that, but it is actually an extremely thick piece of glass, so I do appreciate that. Now, I am in the sport mode here, actually, so it is actually kind of, you know, hanging onto the gears a little bit, obviously. Throttle mapping changes, but the steering is still relatively light for what it is, so I do appreciate that. But there is a tad bit more road noise as well compared to an S-Class. You would expect that, so no, this is not quite on the same level as an S-Class, and that would not be fair. But as we're about to see in the interior segment, this interior is stunning, similar to an S-Class, so I'll leave that out for a little bit. But no, I mean, it's not on the same level as an S-Class, but don't get me wrong, this is still a very refined car, very relaxing car to drive, so that's the main thing. And no, it's not like a BMW, it's not, you know, absolutely amazing in terms of handling, but this is better than you would expect. This is not quite as rolly or anything like that. This is actually still great in terms of dynamics for what this is. This is like 43, almost 4,400 pounds because it is the Cabriolet. But the way this engine is set up and tuned, this power is extremely acceptable for the size, the way that most people are going to be driving this vehicle. So if you're worried about the shove, you know, no, you don't have to go up to the, you know, E53 or the E63. That's absolutely not necessary with these cars. This is more than enough for everyday driving. We can kind of put the top down here as well. I'm going to take this car over some really garbage roads here in a bit to test out more of that ride quality. Obviously, this car is extremely comfortable because it is a Mercedes-Benz after all. And when you do put up the windows, it becomes way quieter. So actually, this is the reason why you purchased this vehicle, to drive it around as a convertible. And it's doing a great job in just being a relaxed convertible car. Once you take the top down, it just totally changes the entire demeanor of this car. And this is how you enjoy this particular vehicle. Got a nice normal turn signal, that's great. But yeah, I mean, this thing handles better than you would expect. The power is absolutely amazing with this car. I mean, don't get me wrong, this power plant is more than enough. I'd be curious to check out the 4-cylinder offering as well, because I feel like this is pretty quick, but I think most people are going to be going for that 4-cylinder option. But yeah, this thing is riding beautifully, thank God. And no, you don't have to get the air suspension for it to ride really well. This is doing a great job. And the steering is perfect no matter what setting you put it in. It doesn't matter if you put it in the sport mode, the comfort mode, it rides perfectly in pretty much all the settings. It just kind of changes the throttle mapping and the gearing of this vehicle. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about, which is the transmission. This thing is mated to a 9-speed automatic. So that sounds like a lot of gears, and it is, But fortunately, this thing downshifts, only a slight bit of hesitation, but when you need the gear that you need, it'll give it to you. And you can actually play with these paddles as well, but I wouldn't even bother, although it does actually react pretty good. But yeah, for everyday driving, this 9-speed is doing a great job, and obviously it will absolutely help you with fuel economy as well, especially on the highway, so that's pretty good. So overall, driving this car, what is my conclusions on this thing? I think this is effortless thrust. It's not a replacement for an S-Class. Why would it be, or else there would be no S-Class? But this thing still has a lot of the qualities that I appreciate with the Mercedes. Mercedes has a certain driving characteristic. Even though it's one of the more relaxed cars, it's not quite like a Lexus. It has this substantial feel. This is a high quality car, dude. These doors are like a freaking bank vault, basically. It's truly a great sensation to drive this car, and I absolutely respect and appreciate that. And I know there are many Lexus fans on my channel. I do love the Lexus cars, although I am going to say this thing does feel totally different from those Lexus cars. It's a totally different mission, basically. You know, it's a Japanese car. These German cars have their own unique kind of more heavy feel to them, and this car kind of has that. But it's still easy to drive, so that's really good. It's about 190 inches long, so this is massive for a convertible / coupe, and it's not far off from the S-Class coupes. This thing attracts a decent amount of attention as well. This is one of the things I noticed, you know, people do like looking at this thing, and especially with the top down, of course. Yes, there's a lot of complexity going on with this motor. Obviously, this is a car that I would highly recommend you leasing. That's the way I would recommend purchasing these Mercedes-Benz products. And leasing-wise, price-wise, I mean, this makes far more sense than going after the S-Class because it's significantly cheaper. And you get a lot of the same looks and pretty much all the same technology as well. So this is a very advanced vehicle, as we're about to see in the interior segment. But I have thoroughly enjoyed driving this vehicle. This has been a lot of fun checking out this car, and I think a lot of people who are interested in this vehicle, they're going to love driving this as well for what it is. It's not going to blow you around or anything like that. Actually, this thing has like some type of crosswind adjustment and all that stuff. Dude, it is crazy, this stuff that they implement in these cars, and it's just second to none when it comes to the other manufacturers. Sure, Audi, BMW, they make a fine car. Lexus makes some phenomenal products, but if you're a tech junkie, you are going to absolutely fall in love with these cars. And that's why, you know, if you're shopping for a Mercedes-Benz, you're typically not going to be cross-shopping this with the Japanese cars. And maybe Audi, but like, even still, this is far beyond anything in terms of technology. And the things that they think about, the nuanced things like these seats, you know, being reflective against the sun. I mean, it is just ridiculous. So yeah, I do like driving this. Just a hair of wind noise and tire noise coming through, but for the most part, this is still great, and I do enjoy driving this car. And the engine doesn't feel weird in any way, like the mild hybrid, everything. It works in a way that you wouldn't even notice it, just like the transmission. You hardly notice any of this stuff. So I like it for those reasons. Now let's go ahead and talk about the interior. The first thing you're going to notice are these 12.3-inch screens. So both for the gauge cluster as well as the infotainment screen. So both these screens, this is standard with the E-Class. You get a lot of things standard with this car. And these screens, the quality of the screens is stunning. You know, if you love screens, this is the car for you, man. And also, it's not like the new S-Class where this is just, where the interior is just overtaken with the screens. This is actually pretty nicely implemented, actually. It's not just like a tablet stuck on a screen. It's actually sitting underneath this kind of this dash here. So it's kind of keeping out the sun a little bit as well, so there's not as much reflection going on with the sun. So you can still see it in harsh sunlight, so that's pretty good. But I like the way they implemented the air vents, the wood design. It's all very similar to the S-Class, so that I love. But these screens, okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is going to take some getting used to. This is not something that you're just gonna hop in. This is gonna take like weeks, maybe even a month for you to totally understand this. And it does have like that "Hey Mercedes" thing going on. See, it's gonna ask, how may I help you?
How may I help you?
Turn off the fan speed. Hopefully you understood that.
I'm switching off the ventilation.
Ventilation. Okay, that's what I needed. Okay, got it. Okay, so you can do that with this car. So you can talk to it like, "Hey Siri," basically, but it's with the Benz, basically. So it's annoying if you mention Mercedes-Benz, the thing will come on, but sometimes, usually, not always. But the screen, I mean, you kind of access it through like the steering wheel. So this is an all new steering wheel, and you kind of like swipe around it. It is kind of cool at first and does react extremely well. And yes, it is actually a touchscreen, but I don't want to get the screen dirty. And it's just something that you have to get used to it, but it's a lot going on. It is cool, but I can see this being distracting, but as long as you get used to it, I think it might be okay. But it does look cool. It's not my exact cup of tea, but I think a lot of people do want this stuff in their cars. And of course, it's got the crazy ambient lighting, all that stuff. Gauge cluster screen is also kind of the same thing. It does take some getting used to, but I will say the screens do look absolutely stunning. So that's great. And the Burmester sound system actually comes standard with the E-Class. So that is stunning. I absolutely enjoy that. And it does sound amazing as well. So this is a great sound system, definitely worth it. And it's great because you don't have to pay extra for it. But again, this is an expensive car. It's about like over $70,000 and it's about $83,000 the way that it's spec'd out. But obviously you got the heated and cooled seats. You obviously have that, and you access your air scarf here as well. Memory seats. I like the way the seats adjust. Actually, there's a lot of adjustment. I mean, heck, you can put the seat down even lower and you can be well over 6 feet tall and definitely be able to fit into this vehicle. So that's great. You got one touch automatic windows for all 4 windows. There's like these kind of quarter windows in the back. That's great to see. And like I mentioned, not double pane glass, but it is a pretty thick piece of glass nonetheless. Automatic headlights, of course. And like I mentioned, the overall design of this interior is stunning. There's not a whole lot of this piano black plastic crap. In a few places, like kind of where you access your infotainment as well. This is another place where you can access it. So you can utilize the traditional kind of rotary knob if you would like. So that does kind of help. I mean, that traditional way of using a Benz product, that's also here. So if you're used to Mercedes products, it's good to see that they still give you that option, but you can also access it here through the steering wheel as well. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you got cameras galore, of course, sensors everywhere. You got 360 cams. I mean, like I mentioned, again, you cannot crash this thing. It is absolutely impossible. But I do like how they gave you some physical buttons here as well with the volume knob. And, you have a few for your HVAC, but again, you do have to look up at the screen for your temperature and all that good stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. Paddle shifters are rather small, but they do feel nice and mechanical. Gear lever knob is like the same as all the other Mercedes-Benz products. It is pretty easy once you get used to it. It's just up and down for reverse and drive, and just press P to park. And you do have the automatic parking brake basically that comes on, and you can turn that off as well. This is where you access your convertible top. Again, very simple to access. You got a decent amount of space inside the center armrest here, and you do have USB-C controls here as well, both in the center armrest as well as in this center kind of a storage space here. So that's pretty nice. And you can definitely put a cell phone in there as well. So that's a nice little storage space. I do appreciate that. And you do have navigation, of course, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that good stuff. Now these seats, like I mentioned, extremely comfortable, and it's got the air scarf. It does reflect the heat and all that good stuff. So fantastic seat quality. I appreciate that. Nice leathers and a great technology. It's just something that you don't really see in the other luxury cars. So it's great to see that with Mercedes-Benz. And you got a little bit of space in the glove box, not a huge amount. But yes, this interior space does feel of quality. I will admit, when you do kind of press up against the wooden panel here, it does creak a little bit. Not ridiculous, but a little bit. So that's one of the things I noticed. That's really the only negative I found, as well as with the overall usability of the screens here. Just a bit of a learning curve, but you let me know if you're an owner of a newer Mercedes products, is this easy for you to understand after owning the car for a little bit. But let's go ahead, let's talk about the rear seats, because the rear seats I can actually fit back there. Those are usable rear seats. You don't have to go up to an S-Class Coupe to get usable seats. This one will also offer it, even with the convertible top. So that's amazing. You can take 4 adults with you and have the convertible top down, and it's just a great experience for 4 people. So that was great to see. That was a nice little surprise, and I am 5'11", and I have no issues fitting in the front, back, anything like that. You can definitely be taller and fit in this vehicle, but probably not in the rear seat though. So probably 6 feet and under is ideal to fit in the back seats. The trunk has a decent amount of space as well, so that's great to see. It's so much, it's a lot to take in. But hey, if you love that, if you love the tech, if you love the safety features that this thing has to offer, along with the prestige, the looks, the appearance, the convertible feature of this, the inline-six, which is absolutely great, such a smooth engine power plant, and the 9-speed is great as well. If you like all this, you're going to absolutely love this car. And I do think this 450 is the kind of model to get. I'd be curious to try out a 350. If I can get my hands on it, I'll definitely do a review on it. But again, if you're an owner of these cars, please let me know in the comment section how you like these cars. But I really did enjoy my time with this car. This was a lot of fun. I mean, it just glides through the road. It's just such a tranquil experience that I really appreciate. And really, Mercedes is the one that provides us with this type of experience. So I really respect and appreciate that.